Taylor's, they farmed now for 5 generations, and they want to farm for many more generations, and we need clean water to grow shellfish. They're filter feeders. So I work with our state legislature, I work with our county government here in all the different counties we farm in, and work back in Congress to try to make sure we have appropriate laws in place and that those laws are being enforced.
I've known Bill for a long time, and he's just a great advocate for the industry. He does his homework like nobody I know, and he has gone beyond just representing Taylor Shellfish. He represents the entire Pacific Coast shellfish industry very well when it comes to dealing with policy matters back in D.C. or on the world stage.
People like to live on the shoreline for obvious reasons. You can see today, it's a great place to be.
It's gorgeous.
It draws people to want to live there, and that urbanization of the shoreline brings with it pollutants and so challenges, whether it's stormwater runoff from our roads or pet waste from the lawns or pesticides or fertilizers they're putting on their lawns, etc. So that's what we call non-point pollution sources are a challenge for us. Then there's a bigger one that's come to light in more recent years. It's called ocean acidification. So as we burn fossil fuels and emit CO2 from those fossil fuels, most of it's absorbed by the atmosphere, and it's affecting our climate, as a lot of people are aware. But also about 27% of that CO2 is absorbed by the ocean. So what happens when CO2 is absorbed by the ocean, it makes the ocean more acidic. It forms this carbonic acid. But more importantly, part of that chemical reaction is it reduces the availability of carbonate ions, which are what the shellfish we grow build their shells out of.
Oh.
So they're struggling to build their shells. And we didn't understand this. In the first 48 hours, all of our larvae were dead and laying on the bottom of the tank. We'd take them and look at them under our microscope and say, well, yep, they're dead, but that's all we could see.
Yeah.
And then Governor Gregoire got involved, Congress got involved, policymakers reacted because we're such an important employer in the rural areas of the state. There was jobs being affected, food production being affected, and that Blue Ribbon panel helped us understand. The scientists all came together and we started to, get a focus on what was going on and what the response should be. And
so what are some of the recommendations that the panel has come up with?
Yeah, we got help from Congress to get some very sophisticated monitoring equipment in our hatcheries so that we could actually see the seawater chemistry and understand what was going on with it. And we learned how to avoid the bad water, and now our understandings evolved further to where we actually have water treatment systems in the hatchery that are reacting real time to the chemistry monitoring equipment and injecting sodium carbonate into the water, basically boosting up the carbonate ions, the calcium carbonate in the water so our babies can build their shells again.
That doesn't change
doesn't change what's going on out here.
Right.
And fortunately for us right now, it's just these little microscopic babies that are being impacted, at least that we know. As conditions get worse, and they're going to, then it will start to dissolve the animals on our farms as well. And then we can't really do anything about the chemistry here.
Right.
But part of the recommendations from this Blue Ribbon panel is to try to understand, are there natural refuges where it would be good to grow shellfish? And Samish Bay would be one of them because we have a lot of eelgrass out here.
Okay.
And eelgrass is a plant, and as it grows, it sucks up CO2. So it's naturally mitigating the carbonate chemistry in the bay here and making sure there's abundant carbonate ions available for us to grow shellfish here. In the future, that may be one of the few places you can grow.